here we are. First half of the divisional round done. I did a little studies here. They kind of match up as I did last week, showing that the offensive lines, the ability to run inside, and the ability to protect set the table for victories. Now, there is some a little differences between last week and this week, but it's still pretty clear. And I want to show you guys the matchups between the Ravens and Texans and San Fran and Green Bay to show you, everyone's talking, is he a good enough quarterback? Is he a good enough quarterback? Is our quarterback better than this guy? Obviously with Tua and all these other guys. The NFL is a game of cycles. When Manning and Brady cried to the league and they implemented the passing rule adjustments, all of a sudden the teams that could throw the football were blowing teams out, running the show because the cycle was there and they had the talent, and that talent created a PowerPoint for those teams to drive the situation. But over time, that the league has now moved into a different cycle. And I've been saying this for 3 years, and it's going to be made more and more clear. Dolphin fans, the league is no more finesse speed to win. It's not. It helps. It always helps to have fast, dynamic receivers and fast, dynamic runners. But the game is not predominantly controlled by that. It's controlled by an offensive line that's able to overcome the lack of two-a-days, the lack of chemistry, and injuries that can block in the pass game and the run game, both pretty good. And then the offenses are driven through that, and then the quarterbacks are put in positions to make big throws in order to take their team to the next level. Having Lamar is a great asset. Having Allen's a great asset. Having Mahomes is a great asset. But you could see by both sides in the AFC, you have all these top core. You had Stroud and Allen and Mahomes and Lamar. And then on the other side, you had Purdy and you had Goff and you had Baker Mayfield, and then you had Love. And the super talented guys are in the AFC, and then the not so talented guys are in the NFC. But both teams that are winning have the same kind of similar level of components. The quarterback will raise the level of these components. And so if everything's equal, you want the better quarterback. But if you don't have the right build to support the quarterback, it doesn't matter what the talent level is. You will not succeed. The NFL has moved and the cycle has changed to defenses having a lot more authority than they used to, and the run game's rising in prominence. So I want to get into that. I want to say, guys, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to show you all my findings. You can check my last podcast. I got like 200 and something views, but it is good information because people are talking about things that are incorrect. And, as a simple example for Dolphin fans out there, I hear people saying, this offensive line was pretty good. Look what we did. We broke records. You can go check a great stat I'm going to show you next time. We were the worst pro set passing offensive line in the last 9 years. I told you the efficiency and the numbers are one thing, but the true pass set grades are something else. And ours was the worst in 9 years. And it says that Tua might not be the guy for us, but he had to throw because the protection wasn't there. You can't deny it. It's facts. Facts don't change because you choose to ignore them, okay? So likes, subscribes, the comments, the views, all that stuff keeps me digging into the books and showing you my findings and having this great time. I learned so much from you guys, and I enjoyed our time together. So I want to give you a shout out. Shout out to Ace Per Head, my sponsor, because without the two of you, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, get right into it. I'm going to dig into just for the Dolphins after the playoffs, like Monday or Tuesday, to show you a bunch of stuff. Okay, but if you understand these teams, even if it's not your team, you understand what's going on. It helps you evaluate other teams and yourself. So we know Ravens destroyed the Texans, but last week the Texans destroyed their opponents and then came in, and all of a sudden they got blown out, and people are saying, well, Stroud's not that good at. Well, let's take a look. Here's the PFF grades. They're very good. Not the whole thing, the total grade, but when you look at the skill set grades, they're very accurate. But it's a good roundabout way to see how these offensive lines and blockers, tight ends play a major part, running backs play a major part. So the blue circles is your offensive line starters. Green is your backup offensive line. And then the orange is your secondary blockers, fullbacks, running backs, and tight ends. And this is useful because it's the top 8 blockers. And you want your offensive line to have the predominant positions in the top positions because they are the predominant blockers to set the tone. Ravens, Staley, Lindenbaum, and Morgan Moses, who is a cheap deal, and I banged the table for my Dolphins to take. The Jets are probably banging their heads against the wall for letting them go. Holding the top 3 positions. Then for Faleli, their backup, who took over because they were blowing him out, look where he did. Then Ricard, the fullback, Makari, their backup, look how he did. Kohler, and then Zietler. Zietler did great in the run block, not so great in the pass block. But you can see this offensive line did tremendous. Those 3 guys at the top, left tackle, right tackle, and center, set the tone. And if you look at Lamar, he had 0 scrambles when blitzed, was blitzed 17 times, which was a lot. It's not really what the Texans want to do. 37.9% pressure rating, but they blitzed a ton. But still, the time to throw is 2.8 clean and 2.8 blitzed. That means this offensive line, tight ends, running back, and fullback blocked tremendously. And it is the reason they won. The defense, obviously, but the offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage and dominated, obviously, in the run game most of all. Now, if you look at the Texans, Tunsil, who was once our guy, he had a great game. Singletary came up, blocked pretty well. But then you got Dieter, Shaq Mason, and Fant. But look at their grades. Terrible grades. They didn't do well. Mason did pretty good in the run blocking. But that's not what you want to see. Compare the Ravens to them. Andrew Beck, the fullback, terrible in the pass. Look at that pass block. Juice Scruggs, the left guard, 31.7 and 45.3. And then Schultz, excellent tight end, pass catcher, but blocking is terrible. And when you look at Stroud, he had 2 scrambles on blitz. He was blitzed 12 times, 48.6% pressure rating, 2.5 seconds when it was clean, and 3.06 when blitzed. So, 2.5 is kind of like the low end of average. And then there's another reason with the Dolphins, when you look at their time to throw, you got to understand why. And you'll see clearly. So the offensive line's dominated. Lamar had some great scrambles, but he didn't throw the football out of the universe. This was a heavy run attack that he added to with his movement skills, and he had loads of time to throw the football, and the defense smothered them with a substandard offensive line. Dieter, who was the Dolphins guy, not good. Can't run block. That's what I've been saying. He's weak. We draft guys that are, supposedly intelligent and agile, but they're weak. He's got to get upgraded. So he ain't going to be there for long. All right, so let's take a look at San Fran. San Fran's offensive line's not what he used to be, but those secondary blockers definitely came out to help him. So you can see McCaffrey, he was the best pass blocker, unbelievable day, running and protection. Trent Williams, a Hall of Famer, Obviously, he did his thing amazingly on both sides. Werner and Kittle came up excellent. Not good in the run blocking department, but the pass blocking department. And this is why it's key to have guys that can pass, catch, and block. And we really don't have that. Smythe's okay, lower end of average, but lower end of average in the pass catching department as well. Feliciano, right guard, very good game. Jacuzzi, I can't remember, never say that guy's name. Fullback, terrible in the run block. You can see run blocking problems throughout here, but Green Bay's got a good defense. And 66 in the pass blocking. So all these guys are pass blocking well. Brendel, solid day. McKivitz, the right tackle, he struggled, kind of low end. But you could see is a fairly solid day. The run blocking was a problem, and it really didn't pay out to the end. That's the run game came out at the end. And I'll show you the run game. You can see it right here in a second. But you compare it to Green Bay. Myers, good game, bad run blocking. Tucker Kraft, who I thought we could have drafted, I would have liked to draft. He had a good day in pass blocking, not so good in run blocking. Rashid Walker, left tackle, substandard day. Zach Tom, guy struggled in the pass blocking, but was excellent in run blocking. Went out with a concussion after 19 plays, and you could see the Packers started descending. They were really in control, running that football, running a ton. And being successful, and then as he went out, it started to get shaky because his backup was atrocious. Aaron Rodgers, not good in pass blocking or to run blocking. Eldon Jenkins, terrible day. Taylor, bad day in the blocking. John Runyon, 38 pass block. Now, San Fran has an unbelievable defense. I mean, both their ends, Bosa and Young, Young, the kid from Washington, unbelievable ends. Armstead inside. Now, if you look, Love only had one blitz. So he kind of saw what Tua sees a lot. All right. But his time to throw was 2.61, and he was under 40% pressure. Okay. Now, Purdy, he was blitzed 13 times. 2.35 seconds to throw, kind of like us. They struggled a little bit in the blocking in order, because they were blitzed a ton and they weren't able to pick up, as you saw, the way they kind of should have. Not terrible, but then even the blitz time to throw was picked up well, and that has a lot to do with the secondary blockers. 2.58. Love had one scramble on the blitz, Purdy 2, and Purdy was under 41% pressure rating. But it was a McCaffrey that at the end of the game made those big runs, and Purdy did make some nice throws at the end. They pulled it all together and were able to hold up under the blitz. That 2.58 is pretty darn good, considering he's not ultra mobile. And obviously the run game came through. So let's take a look at the run game. You can see here, Packers had 28 carries for 136, 4.9. Good day, but it went to a high and then started diving off. There was one big play later on that kind of inflated a lot of things. But you look, the blue shows where they had success. 3 to the edge, inside 3 for 13, and then right tackle 2 for 7, 3.5, and then 4, 26, 6.5. Really, that 66-yard run hyperinflated these numbers. It should have been about, 70 yards for 27 carries. Okay, but the number of carries kept this game balanced. It kept them in. But when you look at San Fran, they only had 23 for 106, 46, and they struggled to run. But it was at the end of the game that they popped it off and the run game drove them. But it was inside, 4 for 17, 4.3. That big run for the TD, 5 for 52, 10.4. Right guard, 1 for 10, 10. And it's these run games that were able to uplift them. It was able to keep Love in the game, and it was able to drive Purdy over the top. Each of these guys made plays. Each of these guys came up in certain circumstances. But San Fran is one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league. But this offensive line held up reasonably well until Tom went down. San Fran, on the same token, they held up reasonably well. And then in the big moment, were able to drive the big run. So you compare this, though, to Tua. Here is the Dolphins against KC. Jeff Wilson was our best blocker, pass blocking. Armstead, terrible in the run blocking department, good in the pass blocking. Smythe, good on both sides. Julian Hill, I got to do some studies on him. He's going to be back. I wasn't high with him in this year, but a guy is a big physical specimen. That's a nice look. I got to see what the deal is with that and do some studies. Mostert, good job. Hunt, good job. A little bit lesser on the run blocking, but you could see you've got only 2 of your starting linemen in the top 6. Ingold, pass blocking. Robert Jones was your next guy at 8. And then the guys you spent all your assets on, and there was so many I'm sorries. Austin Jackson, not bad in the run blocking department, although it wasn't too many. Got to dig into that. He had one nice I really liked. And then 42 in his pass blocking. And then Liam Eichenberg. I'm sorry, Liam. 44.8, 44.6, and 39.8. We were blitzed 11 times, clean time to throw 2.29 compared to 261, 235, 280, 250. Blitzed 227, less than our clean. So it was coming in like Swiss cheese with a 28% pressure rating. Tua might be the guy. He might not be the guy. McDaniel might be the guy. He might not be the guy. But this offensive line, the protection, the tight ends, the running backs, the whole kit and caboodle to drive the run game and protect the quarterback is not good enough. And you look at Allen and Mahomes, who are still in it. These guys have the offensive lines. They have the run games. So if they're elite and they need it, what would Tua need being lesser? Anyway, this is Curtis saying, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all you guys do. Just understand the NFL. In the NFL, the offensive line makes the world go round. And it's a fact. And until Chris Grier resolves this, doesn't matter who we have. You might put nicer face paint on the crack core, but it's still going to be a crack core until this gets resolved. Kirsten, catch you next time. Be well. Go Fins. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.